Hello there, my name's Vince from my mate Vince, and look what we have here, a 65-inch Samsung TV. I fixed this very recently. It lasted all off 5 minutes. So basically, the problem with this one, when I got it, was that the TV worked, but it's got a complete black display. If you shine a torch on it, a flashlight, you can actually see images in the background. I spent ages fixing this, and I did fix it. It was a backlight problem. In fact, the video's done really well on YouTube. It's got about 150,000 views. And then my mate came round to collect it, Brian. I showed him it working, and then we carefully put it into his van to bring it back to his place. We took it out of his van, we plugged it in again to make sure it hadn't broken in transit, because the panels here, the screens are so thin they're easy to break. It's quite a flimsy TV, if I'm honest with you. And then brought it into his house, and it was working. He then put it up on his son's wall, because this is for his son, and basically he put it up on his son's wall and he said, Vince, it's not working. I'm like, what? So basically we are in the same position we were before I started. So if I shine a light on it here, can you see that it says network status just here? So basically the screen, the TV's working, but the backlight's not working again. Now, I replaced all the LEDs on this, so it can't be an LED problem. Do you know what I think? I think when he put it on the wall, when he was using the Visa mount at the back and screwing in, I wonder if it kind of popped in or out the metal chassis of it, and I'm wondering whether the main power board that then feeds the LEDs, there's a connector there. I wonder whether it's come a little bit undone. So let's unplug it, let's lie it down flat, let's take off the back, and first of all let's have a look at the board. Let's see if we can work out what's going on. Now again, because I'm messing with it, there's a chance I might end up cracking the screen, but I will do my best to be careful with it. Now, I should just be lying it flat on the floor here, but I am going to put it on cushions. A lot of people are saying that's a bad idea, Vince. The reason I'm doing it, I know I'm putting more pressure on certain parts of the screen, but let's say if I was to slip and fall, if I'm straight on the ground here and I put my hand on it, there's a good chance then I'm just going to crack the screen. Well, if it's on cushions, there's going to be a bit of give. Right, so I am unplugged from the wall, and we are ready to take it off. So basically I've got to, what do I have to do now? I just want to take the back off to begin with. So I'm just going to get a pry tool in here, and I'm going to start lifting up from here, and hopefully then I can unpop it all the way along. So there's 4 big holes here, and I'm wondering if when the mount was put on, it might have pushed in the metal chassis a bit or pulled it this way, which dislodged the power board. That's what I'm hoping. Now I've got to pry all the way around. There's a little arrow here. I'm going to start from here upwards. I'm not going to go down the bottom bit here because that's where all the ribbon cables are. So I'm just going to use a metal one to begin with, just in here where the arrow is. And I'm going to just try to now get the plastic one in, and I want to hear it clip. There you go. That's a nice sound. Right, so I've got to keep doing that all the way around now. Yeah. So I'm going to keep working around, unclipping it all the way until I get to the other side. I'm hoping then the bottom will be easy to pop off. The reason I'm not going down lower than that is because you can damage the ribbon cables if you start prying in here, because they wrap around to the screen just here. Right, I can see the ribbon cables, so I'm just kind of not prying on those bits. There's a few broken clips, or 1 or 2 broken clips from last time. There we go. Excellent. Right, okay. Let's put this to one side. Right, first things first, I don't want to get electrocuted, electric shocked like I did before. So I am going to get a little resistor to discharge the LED circuit. Right, so it's this connector here that I think might be dodgy, but I don't want to mess with it just yet. Let's just see if we have any voltage in the actual the backlight circuit. So I'm going to go here where it says discharge, And here, there's two like jumpers. And we've only got 24 volts there. Hopefully you can just see 23 volts there. And it's dropping, so it's discharging itself nicely. But I'm just going to give it a helping hand. In here, I have a load of big resistors. So I'm just going to go on here and here, and then it will turn the energy into heat. Right, that should be okay. And we'll check the capacitor as well. Right, 0.39 volts there, and let's go on this big capacitor. And we've got 55 volts in there. Right, so let's discharge this as well. Right, 2 volts. So I feel okay there, and I feel okay here. Right, so it should be safe to work on. Now, well, that's fully home there. That's fully home. See, I was measuring the other side for continuity between here and here. I wonder when I was sticking my probes in, whether, so I need to take this off here. I wonder whether, no, but that connector, what was that connector doing now? I can't remember how it was, I can't remember how the wires were connected into here. I don't know if it was another plug or what it was. I'm wondering if when I was probing, for example, if it's like, you know, male and female, I'm wondering if I spread the female part with my, you know, with my probes when I was going in there. Anyway, let's take this off. It should be safe to work on, I'm hoping. So, how did I do this? You have to lift that up and push it along. No, you had to release it here, lift it up and push it along. There. Right, so I wonder now, I mean, everything I think looks okay. It must have been something I've done. See, if I could fix it without having to take off the panels and stuff, I'd be very, very happy. So I'm wondering if it's this connection here. You see these bits here? That's how it's making a connection. So if we look at this here, I wonder whether these ones here have not fitted in nicely, because maybe I've spread the connection. See, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see, but can you see that one's slightly darker than the one above it? So we've got a connection here, nothing, 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 then a connection here, then nothing, and then a connection up the top here. And in here, deep down inside here, you can actually see tiny bits of metal. The camera's not going to pick up on it. They're absolutely tiny. So I think what I might try to do before I do anything is I might bend the corresponding pins on the board, and that way then they have to make a connection to the top or bottom. Actually, do you know what I might try and do? I've got a tiny little needle here. Let's get rid of that. A tiny needle. I might actually try to get the needle in and bend the connections up and down. You know, get them more close to each other. I'm going to do the first one with my eye loop, and then if it's successful, I'll try to maybe zoom in and do the other three. Right, I can actually bend it. Just don't think I'm going to be able to show you. Let me try it around here. Right, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go in from the back here and just push it a little bit forward. And also I'm then going in this way and trying to lever it up, and then going in this way and try to lever it down. And that way then the kind of copper prongs are getting closer together, and hopefully the other ones will meet from the actual board. I don't know if this is the issue, but it's a lot easier than having to take apart the screen again if I don't need to. So I have bent them out. I'm not sure if any of it came out on camera. I've also put the needle in this side here and tried to push them this way. in case, you know, when the prongs go in, they're not meeting the edge part. As I said, I don't know if it is that. What would be nice is if I could have something small enough to put in there and then measure with my meter for diodes, and then I might be able to see the LEDs from here and also work out, you know, what goes where. But again, it's too small. I don't want to put my probes in there because I'm going to open up the connections again. So yeah, let's pop the board back on just in case it is that straightforward. So that's in there. So that is locked in. Maybe if it starts working, maybe I could flood this with glue, and that way then, you know, just hot glue, so it could come up with IPA if somebody needed to repair it in the future. And that way, even if that gets pushed in, that might stop that from flexing. Okay, I think I'm just going to turn it upside down and see if that starts working. No, there's nothing there. Yeah, network says it's not that. Oh no! I'm going to have to actually get access to the, you can hear it, I'm going to have to get access to the actual screen itself, which means taking the bezel off and taking the screen off. I'm going to have to wait till my son comes home for that. Oh, I really didn't want to have to get into the panel again. It must be where I connected the LEDs in. One of them must be faulty and it's knocked the whole lot out. As in, sorry, my connections. I remember when I was trying to work out how they connected, one of them, a bit of plastic came off, but I didn't think it was important because it was still, you know, fully pushed in. But maybe it's making a bad connection there. I'll tell you actually what I should do, in case I'm wasting my time, in case it is a separate fault, or maybe there's something on the board that's causing some weird surges which is knocking the LEDs out. Maybe when it's on now, I should measure the LED circuit to see if we have, for example, like 300 volts. So let's carefully put it back down again. And let's measure here on those ones that I discharged earlier to see if, for example, we have like 300 volts, we know that the voltage is getting down to the LEDs. Let's see if we got anything. Go there, and I'm going to go here. Yeah, 288 volts. So this is definitely providing the correct voltage, but the LEDs are not lighting up. There you go, 288. Right, okay. Let's turn it off. I've got to discharge it again. There's a lot of discharging in this video to make it safe to work on. I'm not going to show you every single time I do that. Also, I'm working on this when it's live some of the times. There is a real risk of electrocution. There's 240 volts AC going into this. Even when it's off, there's still going to be high DC voltage coming out of the mains capacitor and the LED circuit as well. Do not ever copy what you see in my videos. I am just trying to fumble my way through this. I'm not an expert in any of these repairs, so take it purely for entertainment. And now I've got to start undoing the two screws down here and trying to get the bezel off. If I'm honest with you, there's 101 jobs I'd rather do than messing with this panel. It's because it's so thin. It's about 2 millimeters thick. And I know that it's going to be super easy to break. And I was lucky last time I didn't break it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be so lucky this time. Right, and that's off. Now I'm going to take off all the sticky bits. I've already undone the ribbon cable from here. So now I need to unhook these. There's like plastic bits here. I need to unhook them from. Got to be super careful because these ribbon bits are just glued on to the boards. There we go. And let's dangle that down carefully. There. Now, if I had somebody to help me, I'd be able to just lift this off now. But right now, I'm on my own. So, I'm going to give my son a ring, see where he is. He should have been home from school hours ago. This is like perfect timing. Honestly, 6 seconds later, my daughter's just pulled up in the car. And yeah, I'm going to get her to help me try to lift this off here. This should be interesting because my daughter's just had her nails done and I've told her they're not practical. So let's now see if this is going to end in tears or not. Up the, hold on, just the metal bit. Yeah. And leave everything else behind. I don't know, I'm not sure if I've taped it to the top or not. Hold on. Let's lift it up nice and carefully. Up. Now. No. What's happening?
No, yeah, done.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, and now put it here. Perfect. Right, that was good. Now, what I want to do is I want to try to gently. Can you grab the cushions underneath here?
Yeah.
And drag them towards you, nice and gently with the screen. Just drag.
Okay.
Keep going. And lastly, can we just put this down flat now? Flat, just watch that screen.
Which way?
That way. And down. Excellent, well done. Good job, thank you.
Thanks.
You know, I can't move anything without saying to me, to you. I didn't do it out loud in my head. I did it in my head instead of saying it out loud. But for some reason, it's from the Chuckle Brothers. And ever since I was a kid, I can't not say to me, to you, to me, to you. And I lifted something with somebody else once, and they said to me, to you, to me, to you. So I think it's. I think there must be a few of us out there. What I'm wondering is, it was this plastic connector here that was a little bit iffy. This one just here. So I think I'm going to get my special little tool, and then I suppose we're going to go across each strip to make sure they're lighting up. Then we know the strips are okay. Right, what I have noticed, but I can't see how it would make any difference at all, is this one here isn't actually clipped in on the edge there. But I can't see why that being loose would make any difference, you know? Just here. And somehow it's I don't know, it's come out from there. Everything looks okay. Let's plug it in. Hopefully something will become obvious. So this is my little tester here. Got to be super careful because it's high voltage. I'm plugging it in now, and we're going to take off these probes here. Make sure we don't touch them together. Turn it on, and we're going to go on these here, and we're going to see what's lighting up. So positive is down the bottom, and negatives here. So every one of them's lit up there. So it's not that. That's okay. Let's try this one. Every one of them's lit up. This is weird. They've all lit up. They've all lit up. And they've all lit up. So it's not an LED strip problem. Ooh. Well, we've got voltage coming out at the main board, 280 volts, and there's nothing happening here. So clearly then, it must be something to do with the connector to these things, I presume. Unless, of course, if it doesn't recognise one strip, I'm on the strips here, I'm not on the wires. If one of these connections here were faulty, if a whole strip's out, it might not work. But I am going to have to take them out, aren't I? Because I need to peel this back in order to get to the wires. I mean, ideally, what I would like is for it to be up on the wall, and then see if I could measure. But I can't. There's not going to be any voltage here, is there? And the wires are all insulated, so I'm not going to be able to measure anyway. You know, for example, if I could measure 280 volts here and then not here, then I know this connection here has failed. But they all look perfect. Let me show you what I mean by the plastic thing that I broke. I don't think it's that. So if you have a look at this one, can you see there's a little clip on top there? Oh, this one, it's gone. But that's fully inserted. That's all the way in there. I've got to be careful now. Actually, I need to discharge this, otherwise I'm going to shock myself like I did last time. So let's put it up against a wall, and I'm going to discharge it. Right, so I've discharged that now. Actually, that was silly me discharging it. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put power back into it. I want to see when the screen's not connected, do we still have 280 volts? Or does this circuit only come alive when it knows the screen's connected? Hopefully that's on. There we go, you can hear it. Let's see whether we have any voltage here, because we definitely had it earlier. Oh, we do, 280 volts. Interesting, so the LEDs should be on. And they're not. Okay, I wonder, can we go onto the... I've got to be careful, I don't want to risk shorting against that. How about if we leave it on now, and see if I can measure any voltage on the connections, I wonder. No, I think that's going to be too dangerous. I'm going to turn it off. And I'm going to drain the power from it again. I'd rather do it with just continuity. I just want to see if I can hear on continuity, maybe, if any of these are connected to each other, like negative to the negative. Okay, so we've got positive to nothing, but we've got negative to positive. Now, is this one connected up to here? No, but is this one connected to here? No, negative. Negative to positive there. So if negative to positive's there, and negative to... Oh, sorry. Negative to positive. Negative to positive. There. So they're in series, are they not? So now, negative is going to go to positive here, I'm sure. Yes. And then I presume that negative goes back to the board, and this positive goes back to the board. I think. So I'm pretty certain now we're going to have a problem with the wires that go from here back to the board. So unfortunately I am going to have to take these strips out, I think. Whoa, 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 whoa. Got to be careful. I need to take off the LED strips so I can peel back the kind of white plasticky film at the behind the LEDs, and that will give me access to the connector that went to the main power board and also all the wires that feed each LED strip, and then we can see maybe with continuity what's going on. While I'm doing that, I'll give a shout out to the My Mate Vince Massive. They are the top level Patreon. The members this month are Keemon Services, Kip Hakes on YouTube, Max Rokatansky, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeeps.com, DJ VG, Pigsy, Anthony Dean, Russ Millington, Sugartay, Rickard Bergland, Soul Reaver 555, Shamsa Al Sawadi, Stuart Park, Stephen from the Broken Past on YouTube, Lee Benz, Niall Stone, Operational 117, and AJ Computer Services UK. So as always, a massive thanks to each and every one of you and everybody over on Patreon that help out this channel, and of course everybody that comments on the videos and shares all their useful information. Lots of learning is done through the comment section, which is really good, not just for me but for everybody reading those comments. There. So I think it's amazing the amount of burning. Look at that there. The discoloration. So I think, because I put all this tape on last time to keep it out of the way, I think we've got a problem between here. Do you know what I need to do? I need to plug it back in and see if we've got 280 volts on these connections here. If we have, I then know that we've got it coming through from the board to here. Maybe I was right at the very beginning with my thinking that it's this that's faulty. This is his own little series circuit. So we have 280 volts, I presume, on the bottom one there, positive, which goes to here. And then from there, it goes to there, there it goes to there, there it goes back to the middle one here. That middle one is connected to the other middle one, because I can hear it, there. And then I presume this top one here, which is black, weirdly, not grey, goes up. And it's going to go to the top one here, I presume. Grey goes to here, and then the blue must go up to here, and then the black goes back to here again. So it is like two little circuits, but they're connected here. I don't quite understand that. I don't know why, these two are joined together anyway. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, because the middle two look like they're connected anyway. So why are they not just joined up here? Why do they bother going to here? Why didn't they just use one wire to here, jumper, 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 and then back to here? I'm a bit confused what's going on here. Unless there's something on the other side of the board which is joining them together, but maybe they're being measured or something like that. I think we need to put power into this, and I think we need to go onto the contacts here to see where we have 280 volts. How are we going to do this? Should see 280 volts here, should we not? It's definitely on. Here we go. Let's go top and bottom. Wow, 280 volts. What on earth is going on? We've got 280 volts. So we've got 280 volts on the side of the connector that the wires come out. And we've got continuity on the wires. And we know the LED strips work when I put voltage into them. So we've got continuity, we've got the correct voltage, and the LED strips work. Yet it's not working. Clearly there's an iffy connection somewhere. And maybe when I use my probes it's okay, but maybe when I don't use the probes it doesn't necessarily mean that the actual LED strips are making contact with the white plastic connectors, which go through the wires, which go to the main connector. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the LED strips back on, I'm going to put power into it, and then we're going to wiggle each connector with a bit of plastic. Let's see if the thing comes alive, because none of this is making any sense. Remember, I've already fixed it. There was faulty LEDs. It had a genuine fault. Something's happened since then with me putting it back together that it's not happy with. But yet we have voltage, we have continuity, and the strips work. So yeah, something's not quite adding up. Let's get it back together and let's see with power in if I can make it work with a little wiggle. It's such a shame I can't easily go onto the contacts here, because then I could just measure, measure for voltage. But I can't, because the contacts here are part of the strips and we've got a problem between the strip and these. Right, I'm going to use a bit of plastic. The problem I've got is I don't actually know if I'm on or off right now. But I'm going to use a bit of plastic. I'd really like to know which one is the faulty one. Not every one of them is going to have gone. Let me just try to... see that? Did you see it flicked on there for a second? I hope this doesn't blow it. Top one. Wow, the top one, not the bottom one. The top one here. Interesting. Right, okay. Well, let me turn it off, and then awkward because I've got no way of draining it, you see. So it was when I did this one here. It flicked for a second when I did this one, but this was the one where it came alive. So yeah, maybe that is a bad contact there. So I think we're going to have to take this one off and give things a little bit of a wiggle. I would have thought it was the one that I messed with, but no, it must be this one here. Maybe I struggled more getting this one in and I kind of bent it or something as it was going in, not too sure. So I think originally when I took out the faulty LED strips, or maybe when I put these new ones in, I think I must have done it at a bit of an angle or something, and I've damaged the connector ever so slightly. Either that, or I'm not using original Samsung parts here. The tolerances might be slightly different, and it might be enough that it doesn't quite make the connection. Unlikely. I think it was probably me manhandling it. I was, if this is a known problem, you would take care. When you don't know it's a known problem, you just try to get them in and out as best you can. So what I tried to do is, I tried to bend up the pins a little bit to try to make a contact, and I do that. I put it back together again, hoping it's going to work, and then this happens. Okay, so that's back on there. I tried to bend that there. I might have made it worse. Don't know. So I'm going to see if they work now. If they work, I'm going to glue them and leave it at that. So turn it on. Let's see if it's going to come alive. So this is going to be troublesome, isn't it? This is going to be troublesome. Shall we see if wiggling this makes it suddenly work? No. So maybe I've made that connector worse now. Just make sure the others are okay. Well, that time I hit that one down there and it started to work. So, I don't know. I suppose all I can do is glue them. It's gone, you see there? That's interesting. Right, let's give that one a wiggle. So that one's okay. Look at that. So give that a wiggle and it stops working there. Yeah. Okay, not happy with that, so I'm going to mess with that one there. Turn it off here. And I want to do what I did here, there, because now when I wiggle that, it's not making a difference. So if I do that on that one there, it might do okay. By that, I mean bend the pins on the LED strip so it can make a better connection. All right, so let's take this one off. Whoa. Ha ha. Dearie me, I've managed to put a right bend in that. I've actually cracked it. Whether I've just cracked the paint or cracked the copper, I don't know. I think I've actually cracked it, so I think I'm going to have to solder that now. Let's just put our little tool on it, because if it's just the paint that's cracked, I don't care. This job's starting to go against me. No, I don't believe it. I've broken it. Just make sure my tool's working. Yeah, they're all lit up. Right, so we're going to have to bring this over to the mat, and we're going to have to solder up that brake now. Ah, see, when I took it off there, it kinked up. What a nightmare. Okay, I'm going to use my grinding pen. I presume, because the wires can't go through here, that there must be a track here and a track here, and hopefully you can see that there's a brake. So once I grind back, we can use the multimeter, and you'll hear there's no continuity. This isn't such a big deal, it's just, you know, it's just annoying. It's kind of hard to take them off though in those keyhole ones. I think that this one here is a little bit harder to use than maybe the original Samsung ones. You know, maybe these, the tolerances are maybe not quite the, not quite as good. I thought I'd be getting back to bright copper there. Not quite sure what's going on. Let's clean it with IPA. Ah, here we go. Right, I'm going to keep on cleaning there. So you can see that's just nothing there, but this is the track. Just want to see where the track ends in case there's more than one track. I'm sure it's just going to be one big one here and one big one here. Yeah, there we go. We can see what's happening now. And you can clearly see there's a nice break. It here, but not here, yeah? And we've got it here, but not here. So we have to bridge that. This one, we have actually got it, but I will put some solder over that as well. Right, let's tin this up and get a wire on it. So I use flux and some solder, but I don't just want to rely on a solder because it's going to be quite weak. So then I just cut off a leg off a resistor and I use that to repair the top and bottom. When that's all done and when we have continuity there, I then put some nail varnish on it just because I can't be bothered to wait for the UV mask to go off. So I put nail varnish on and that is it. I've just got to be more careful when I take these on and off. So now let's bring it back into the room and test it. Okay, so I've bent the end of those bits in or out a little bit, and I just want to see on my tester here if this is going to light up. Please light up. Yay, fantastic. So my little fix here has worked. Now I'm going to plug this back into here, and I've got to wait until I've got to drain it again, haven't I? So I've got to drain it again. No, I haven't. Yes, I have, because I've put my power into that. So now it's charged up the LED circuit. Right, I've got to drain it. I've got to put this back in. And then basically, I'm going to turn it on. If it doesn't work, I'm going to wiggle around with these again. What I want to get is, I want to get to the stage where I can just turn it on and off and it will work. Once it works, I'm going to put glue, 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 glue. And then fingers crossed, that will just, that will keep on working then because they're in place. I think I need to take a break. I'm really struggling to get this one on. Do you remember this was the one that popped up here? And now have a look. I'm not doing anything wrong. I know what I'm doing. I'm pressing each one down. I know how they go on. I just think the tolerances here are just not quite right, and they take so much force to put on. And then, for example, I was pushing up this one here, and this one's refusing to go, and then looks what's happened now. It's now broken here. I've got a crack on this one here. Right, okay, I am going to, because I'm in the main room here, and it's I'm taking over, like, you know, this with wife wants to watch TV and stuff, and I can't keep stopping every few seconds to just do more and more problems here. Let me grind this back. You see me fix it further along. I'm going to grind this back. I'm going to put a bridge on here with a couple of wires, and then I'm just going to try to just get this on off camera. Yeah, so next time you see this, the LEDs hopefully will be working when I turn them on and off with the remote control, and then I'm just going to slap glue everywhere and call it a day. Right, interestingly, I just started filming again because this one has 3 traces, a fat one down the bottom, and then we got 2 on this top section here. So the left hand side is different than the right hand side, which I thought was interesting. So I'm just going to plug it in, see if it works. If it does, I'm going to put some solder mask on it, or nail varnish. Yes, that's lighting up right the way across. Brilliant. Right, I've put some nail varnish on that bottom one there. When I use my little LED tester on the points there, the whole strip lights up, so I know it's okay. Right now, I've got it on, and it's not working. Even when I get my plastic little tool and hit these bits here, it's still not working. So if I go across here, remember last time I did that and it started working. So I presume by me messing with the bit down here, I probably put it slightly out. Yeah, so now it's not working at all. I want this to work, and I want it to work reliably. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug it. I'm going to drain all the power from it again. I'm cutting the wires here, and I'm getting rid of these plastic things, and I'm soldering them straight onto the connections on here. So the reason I sound a bit disheartened is because I wanted it to work as factory. And as factory allows you to change the LED strips. Yes, it's a nightmare taking the panel off, the screen off, but you can still just unclip the LED strips. By me soldering the wires on, I've made it a lot harder to repair in the future. But the problem is, I've tried doing it by bending the pins and it's not working. So what you'd have to do is buy all new connectors. You might be able to buy them, but you know, I don't have them, so that means having to search for them. Hopefully they're going to be the correct ones. I'm going to have to wait for delivery. While the alternative is I can just cut the wires and solder it straight onto the LED strips. They can flex until kingdom come and they will still work. So yeah, I've made it much harder to repair in the future. But will this TV be even getting repaired again? If these LED strips last another 5 years, maybe the TV by then will be obsolete. And like I said, if somebody really wanted to, they can just solder on the wires again. I appreciate I've made it harder, but what can I do? We're not dealing with one bad connector, we're dealing with 2 bad connectors. And how do I know that the second, third and fourth connector, the third, fourth and fifth connector isn't going to start playing up in a minute's time or a week's time? You know, I don't want to give this back to Brian for him to put it on the wall, a little bit of flexing, and then boom, the LED's gone yet again. So yeah, I'm just chopping the wires and soldering them on. Not the best job as far as repairability is concerned, but I think we can all agree a soldered on wire is going to be better than relying on a male and female connector. So yeah, that's what I'm doing this bit here, and yeah, once that's done, I'm just going to show you it working, and then we can put it back together. Hopefully, job's a good one. Okay, so I've soldered them all up, and I've cleaned it with a little bit of IPA, and as you can see there, it's quite nice. So there was plenty of slack on the wires because of course a lot of them have been taped and sort of double backed onto themselves, so I just had to kind of peel a little bit off. So none of those wires are taut there. Now surely it has to work. If it's not working, it means that one of these connections have failed, or the big block in the middle has failed. And the big block in the middle was okay earlier, and as far as I know, these are okay. So I'm 99% certain now we are going to be all right. In fact, I'll be gutted if it's not working. So let's plug it in, turn it on. Let me just get the remote control. Hey, didn't even need the remote control. Right, okay, fantastic. Well, there we go. I think now that is going to be a lasting repair. Turn off. And let's turn on. Brilliant. Right, okay, what I am going to do is put those little bits of sticker back on along here, and then I have to get my son to help me try to put this back onto here, and then I've got to try to get the bezel and everything on. I'm not going to film any of that. I'll only film if I end up hearing a horrible cracking sound, but hopefully that should go all right. I found it quite challenging, if I'm honest with you, but I'm satisfied now, because I think I would have felt maybe a little bit uneasy with the glue there, that it was actually going to last. While now, the only reason that's going to fail is if it was flexed hard enough and one of the wires was yanked off, which isn't going to happen. So yeah, I think this time it will actually be a lasting fix. So it's time to put it back together. Easier said than done because of the super thin, easy to break panel. Anyway, I mentioned gluing that bit there. I'm not sure if I mentioned it earlier in the video. The idea was to get it working and then put a load of hot glue where the LED strips met the connector. That way then, they can't flex loose or vibrate loose, or every time you wobble the TV, they're not going to come loose. So I was never going to just rely on it, oh, it's working, put it back together, because we'd be in the same boat as we were at the end of the first video. Obviously, if I had known at the end of the first video, I would have put hot glue on then, but I didn't know. I thought they were working fine because it was working when I was testing them. So yeah, if I could have got them working reliably, I would have put hot glue all over the connectors where they met the LED strip, and then I know that that would have been a good fix. But as it is now, it's an even better fix because the wires are soldered on. You can flex it all you like, they're not going to come loose. So yeah, I'm confident now that these LEDs will continue to work. So I've got it back together. It wasn't too bad, it didn't go together as nicely as it did when I took it apart in the last video, but I've still got it back together. So let's prop it up against a wall, plug it in, fingers crossed, we're going to have the backlight working and the TV is going to be up and running again. Here goes. I don't think I broke it. It just put the bezel on and stuff. It didn't inspire me with a huge amount of confidence, but I don't think I heard any nasty cracks. And here we go. I haven't turned it on yet, so the surprise will be real. I've just got that on there to protect the wall. Right, here we go. Turning on now. Yes. Fantastic. Oh, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Right, okay, let's go to home there. What a result. It looks fine. I can't see any kind of abnormal, you know, like bright spots or anything like that. So that is, that's really good news. Oh, well done, Vince. You're amazing. Oh, my mate Vince, you're the best fixer on YouTube. I should leave it there, shouldn't I? So I may actually look like I've had something that could be a successful fix. But do you want to know what really happened? Look at this here. Everything's good, yeah? Looks fine, doesn't it? Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So imagine my surprise when I woke up the next morning. I could just end the video now. Just remember that. I could end the video now and I'd look a lot better than I actually am, wouldn't I? Because look what happened when I woke up the next morning.
The next day.
Right, it's the next day now, and it's just one of those things where it's really weird. So basically, I've watched back the footage from last night. I wanted to turn this on today, wanted to leave it playing for an hour or two before giving it back to Brian to make sure it's working okay. I've watched back the footage from last night. The screen was perfect. I've turned it on today. Well, what happened was I came down and I was like, oh, I don't believe that. I've actually left it plugged in all night, but it wasn't on. And I haven't gone near it. My daughter hasn't been in the house. My son's been in bed and my wife hasn't gone near it. And if you have a look here, I positioned it so if somebody swung this door open, it can't get to it. Yeah? And on this door here, I've positioned it so that door can't hit it. Yeah? So there's no way that it's been hit. Nobody else has been in the house. I've turned it on today and have a look here. Line here, line here, line here. Big block there. Big line all the way across to there. And block there. And I could just see, if I have a look here, it looks like it's had a pressure thing at the end there. But why didn't that show up yesterday? That must have been when I had the screen out and maybe it was flopping. Maybe it was flop. Do you know what it probably was? Probably when I was placing the you know, the back bit back onto this, it must have just clipped that edge off the screen. I can't believe it. I just don't understand why it wasn't showing yesterday. So after all that hard work, the TV's junk. It's such a shame. I mean, it's still watchable, but it's just irritating, isn't it, having a big line across it? And maybe it will get worse and worse. Right, apparently it's caused by pinch damage. So I've loosened off the bezel here, all the way back to here, and loosened this off, and the damage is still there. But you can see it even with the screen off. So if you have a look here, can you see there's like a shadow going all the way up here? There's a line. Look at that line there. And that corresponds to the width of this here. Well, so I've taken the back off and the bezel and the bottom bit as well. And I can see that on this side here, and this side is this was the good side, I can see that the diffuser underneath is maybe 2 mil from the edge. So this is the kind of diffuser here, yeah? You know, to help spread the light around the place. Yeah, so you can see that I'm on the edge of it there. So there's about 2 mil there. On this side, it is level, and I'm wondering if that's my problem. It's dead level there. What's going on? Okay, well, that doesn't look good. I don't know if that happened just now, or whether... Oh, well, there you go. That's the edge of the screen there, isn't it? That's probably just happened now. Everything's so fragile. Well, maybe that's what's caused it. Maybe that bottom bit snapped just there when I was trying to get the bezel back on. Possibly. And maybe it's just, you know, started off with just the line starting to leak, and then as the hours have gone by, they've just got worse and worse. Because clearly when I had it on last night, it looked fine. Then this morning it didn't, and now it looks much worse again. So I don't know now if I put it back together whether it be completely broken or whether it will be the same. If it is, we now know that the screen's broken here. So I've got a feeling though it's not going to display anything now. But maybe that could have been it. The diffuser's right up against it there, so it might have been putting pressure when it needs to be moved a little bit along. It's very hard to line everything up when you're kind of doing it upside down. It's just a nightmare. And luckily on my last video, you know, people did say that it's very hard working on TVs this size. So yeah, maybe if you were used to it and you were doing loads, it'd be okay. So yeah, I can't really see what I've done wrong here, but now that I've seen that, it's either fully game over now, or at least we know if I put it back together and it's like it was, it's because of this here, because that is 100% part of the screen. I can see little bits of copper and stuff on it. Right, it's exactly the same as it was before. So what I've done is I've gone onto YouTube and I've just typed in white screen and it's come up with this. Interestingly, now it's a white screen, I can actually see dots elsewhere as well. So I'm not 100% sure that there might not have been other little bits of damage to the screen before I got my paws on it. But 100% we now know that it's this little bit here which has caused this issue. And I think it's only going to get worse and worse and worse, because I can see leakage occurring up here now, and I definitely didn't see leakage before. Now, just to finish off the video, I just want to fast forward through. I just want to see if I can kind of get rid of this line from this side, rather than trying to do that has like hundreds of lines, well not hundreds, but maybe like 20 lines all on top of each other. I want to see if I can just do this. So I'll get this one on camera because it might be quite interesting. Now obviously it's damaged, so there's nothing I can do to fix it. What I don't quite understand is, why is it spreading? You think now that the crack's there, that it should just be faulty all the time. I don't understand why it's growing over time. So if you could put that down in the comment section, I'd be grateful. I'm only doing this for fun, just to see if it's quite nice. For some reason, when you scrape the black line, you can see it fills with white, and then it's more noticeable when you do it on, for example, like a YouTube video, not just a white screen. I'm doing this for the purpose of the video, but it fills with white, and then you can see the other colours come in. So for example, if there's a tree in the background, there's a black line through it, you scrape across it and it fills with white, and the bits that go white will then fill with green. Really, really bizarre. Anyway, let's do that little, let's get the little fragment of glass that broke off and let's stick it under the microscope to see what it looks like. I mean, look at this. It is just amazing. It's like alien tech. Each edge is going to be about 4mm, so it's very small. Look at what it looks like. Look how many traces. How can they get that so small? It is just amazing. And what I like as well is, look how neat it is. You know, there's no kind of like, ooh, dodgy trace, a bit wobbly or with little bits jaggedy edges. Everything just looks beautiful. It does look like alien technology. It's amazing. So yeah, there we go. You can clearly see that there's traces and stuff on this bit that's broken. So those traces are no longer going to be communicating through, because I've managed to snap off the edge of it. It's actually very easy to do. The bezel and the screen, there's not much gap between them. Maybe 1mm all the way around, 2mm if you're lucky. It's a 65-inch TV. It's very hard to line everything up to get it perfect. It's easy to get it 1 or 2mm out, and glass will always break at the edge. You know, I didn't break the middle of the screen. I wasn't overly foolish with it. People will think I am, but I wasn't. It's just the edge. The bezel is metal, and metal on glass on an edge will crack so easy. And that's what's happened here, because I had to force the bezel on. You've got to clip it into place. It's not like easing it bit by bit with a screw. You're clipping it in. And clearly the screen wasn't quite lined up, and the bottom corner must have been sticking out by a fraction of a millimetre. And when that bezel hit it, it snapped the very edge bit off. And I didn't see it. And of course, to begin with, it was fine. But bit by bit over time, the leakage of the black lines has got worse. So let's pick up the video now. The next day again, this is when I'm editing it now, so the next day, and I'll show you what it looks like now. Right, now check out, so this is the My Mate Vince YouTube channel here. And if you have a look, the lines are spreading. So if you look at this one, now it's going all the way over to here. And this one's going over to here. The top one, which was non-existent to begin with, has nearly gone all the way to here. And now look down this side. Can you see that all these are starting, or fingers growing? It's so strange, because I get that if you crack the screen that you would see the break straight away. What I don't understand, and please, please, please do comment, is why are they growing bit by bit? And it's definitely a time thing. It doesn't seem to make a difference if it's on or off. It seems to be just going over time, which is really, really interesting. But this is a little bit strange. The ones that I kind of have pressed on really hard, they seem to be settled where they are. But don't worry, there's about 1,000 more that want to work their way across. But it is kind of nice how, if we take this little bit here, hopefully you can see here. So watch this. You can see there that that's black on brick, yeah? Now, I mean, I don't care if I break the screen now. It will only go when it goes white. But when it goes white, can you see it's gone white now? And then what happens is the lines will start to fill up with brick. So if I do this enough, maybe I've chosen too many lines here. If I do this enough, it will, it kind of goes back to brick. See, that bottom line now is starting to disappear, the very bottom one. Yeah, you can see lots of white there. And now the bottom line has nearly gone. Hopefully that's come up in camera there. Let me just do one more here. So you can see two perfect lines going across here. Do this until it goes white. And then when you do that a few times, I can already see the bottom line's gone. Can you see the bottom line's gone? So if you kind of get your finger and go across it, it does make them disappear more. But it's pointless, because I've got all these waiting to go. It's amazing. It really is amazing. And I'm really confused how a cracked screen would cause that. So yeah, if you could put that in the comment section, that would be, I think it'd be nice to read. So a massive apologies to Brian, and more so to his son, because he did have this up on the wall. That's where it was going to go, in his bedroom. And, you know, I was so confident second time round that it would have been an easy fix. But yeah, I messed up, but they are so fragile to work on. So 100% now the backlight's working every single time, but it's pointless because I've broken the screen, and the panels on these are more expensive. You can't get them, but if you can, they're going to be more expensive than a second-hand working TV. Yeah, real shame that I couldn't get it working. If anything, I'm probably the most gutted out of everybody because I've put a lot of time into it, and I'm just so heartbroken that I was so close to fixing it. And also there's a bit of guilt there as well, which is a shame, because if I'd just taken a little bit more care, then it would have been okay. But you know, when you're working on something for so long, I was taking care. It's easy to say in hindsight I should have taken more care, but I was trying to be careful. But there we have it. Hopefully you got some enjoyment from the video. If you did, give it a massive thumbs up. Hopefully if I work on a TV in the future, I will be more successful than this one here. Take care, everyone.
I went out and tried to cut a pine tree down, fell through the ground like Alice. Oh, what a sound. This must be a nest. I got rocks and sticks against my chest. I'm Alice. Dear Queen of Hearts, I'ma grow you white roses so you can learn to be kind. Tell King of Hearts to arm all his forces so you can learn to be kind. Oh, what a start. Inside out and upside down. No stress, I'ma clean up this mess like Alice.